Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP Storm Sorcerer build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So this is my favorite class. I've actually ran an entire party of just Storm Sorcerers and it's an incredibly powerful class. What makes it so powerful is the fact that we can use Create Water to double our damage on all these spells. So for the Sorcerer, there's a lot of great options for damage, but we're mostly going to be focusing on the lightning spells as well as the cold spells, because these are going to give us our best bang for the buck in terms of damage output. Now, we're going to pick this at level 1. It gives us Fly as a bonus action without receiving opportunity attacks, which is nice. The Draconic Bloodline will get it at level 11 as a movement speed instead of a bonus action, but they can get hit by opportunity attacks. So this gives us a nice defensive maneuver early in the game. Now, as far as our cantrips go, I think it's actually best to take Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp. These both do 1d8 of cold damage, and this will scale up to 2d8 and 3d8, so upward to 24 damage, and this can be doubled with water. So these can do 24 damage at max, and then 48 doubled. So that actually is pretty good damage for a cantrip. Minor Illusion is another fantastic choice, as this groups enemies together for when you're doing something like Cone of Cold or Lightning Bolt, so that can be actually really great to start combat with a Minor Illusion, Create Water, and then blast them with Thunderbolt or Lightning Bolt. I also really like Mage Hand. Friends if you're the face of the party, because you want to have that for dialogue options, and Firebolt can be an okay option if you need to melt ice into water to reset up water. I'm going to take Mage Hand because what you can do with Mage Hand that's really effective for this build is drop it a water bottle, because dropping water bottles doesn't cost any actions, and then the Mage Hand can pick it up and throw it, and then set wet so you can do double damage. Really effective. As for our spells, Mage Armor is a really great option early on. So is Shield. I think Mage Armor is great because we don't have the Draconic resilience that you would get from being that type of sorcerer. But Shield can get you use a reaction, increase your armor class by 5, which is really nice. It can help you with survivability early game. And Chromatic Orb is just an overall great damage dealing spell. Some people like Ice Knife, but it only does a 2d6 of cold damage, whereas this does 3d8, and you can change this to cold or lightning damage, so it fits the theme of the build much better. And for our ability scores, this is where it gets interesting. If you're playing as your Tav or Dark Urge, go Charisma 17 and take the Hag's Hair to make that 18, and then you can use your first ability score to make it 20. If not, we're going to go with 16. The rest of our points should be put into Constitution and Dexterity, so going with something like this can be pretty good. Dexterity will give us armor class and initiative, so we want to have a bit of dexterity there. And overall Constitution is going to give us more health, so it allows us to survive longer. So that's what we're going to go with for level 1 of the Storm Sorcerer. This build gets really powerful, so stay tuned to the end, and I'm going to go through some of the best options and gear for this build. So at level 2, we get ourselves our sorcery points and metamagics. So for our next spell, I think that magic missile is nice because there are some opportunities in the game where this is the only spell that will connect with the enemies. So we're going to take that because it guarantees a hit if you're within the 18 meters range. Mage Armor is another great option. And we could also add in, if you would like, 1 level of the Tempest Cleric, which will give us heavy armor. So whenever you get a good heavy armor set, you can take 1 level out of this and put it into the Tempest Cleric. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go full in on the Storm Sorcerer, and then at our level 12, we can choose that. But just know that if you find really good heavy armor and you want to use it, the Tempest Cleric is a really great addition to that. So for our metamagics, distance spell to increase the range of spells by 50% and give a melee spell a range of 9 meters is awesome. And twin spell, which is the most broken thing in this game. We can use twinned haste to give ourselves haste and someone else haste. And that's just straight up broken because it gives us 2 actions, so we basically get a free cast out of it, and then we can also give someone else a free action. So you're putting that on your fighter. It takes their attacks from 3 to 6, which is just mind blowing. And for our next spell, we get level 2 spells. There's some really useful ones like Misty Step, which we do have the bonus action Fly, which kind of does the same thing. Mirror Image will increase our armor class by 9, and then it reduces by 3 every time we get hit. I think that Hold Person is one of the best concentrations, though, in the game, so I'm going to go with that because Hold Person allows your melee attackers to just wail on them, get critical hits, and if you have a build that's focused on critical hits, this can actually be really effective. And Quicken Spell is the best meta magic here that we're going to take. It gives us the ability to cast spells as a bonus action, so 2 spells per turn, pretty great. Quicken Spell is just fantastic flat out. The ability to cast 2 spells in a turn is just completely broken and can turn the tide of battle. So at our next level, we get to choose another cantrip, and I think it's good to go with it. Bone Chill actually has some use too, because it prevents the target from healing, but we're going to go with Firebolt just in case we need to destroy a water surface, or it can also be nice to explode barrels if you have any nearby. Actually, I'll take Friends just for the purpose of this, because it could be your Tav or Dark Urge. Now at our next level, Gust of Wind can be decent and knock a creature off balance, but I think that Mirror Image is pretty good, especially just for survivability. We don't have the increased armor class that comes with being a draconic sorcerer, so we're gonna go with that. Charisma boost all the way. Best choice there is just to take your ability score up, because it's going to mean we're going to be hitting our spells more frequently, and charisma is really a big focus for the sorcerer, especially with the face of the party. Now at next level, we need to take haste, but lightning bolt's the other option here. So take haste because we can twin this on ourselves. Gives +2 to armor class. You get increased movement speed, and you gain an action, which is just straight up powerful. So that's what we're going to take for that level there. And then at level 6, we get ourselves a nice Heart of the Storm. When you cast level 1 or higher spell that deals lightning or thunder damage, you cause a small local storm. All enemies within 6 meters take 3 lightning or 3 thunder damage. So always go with the lightning version of that. And you're resistant to lightning and thunder damage. Awesome. We also get Call Lightning and Create Water, which is just perfect. And then we also get Gust of Wind, which I mentioned earlier. It's not a bad spell overall. I think it's very underrated. Most people hate it, but it's not bad. Sleet Storm, if there's a lot of spellcasters, you can upset their concentration, create Ice Surface. And Thunder Wave for the pushback can sometimes be situational if you need to push someone off a cliff. As for our spell, Lightning Bolt is just great. So 48 damage, we can double that up to 96 damage, which is just broken if you got water set up. So it hits all creatures in a line, and it can completely end some encounters pretty early on. So we want that. For level 7, we get ourselves level 4 spells. I think that Ice Storm is the best. Counterspell can be good too, because it stops a spell from being cast, which can be extremely useful for stopping enemy spellcasters. Ice Storm adds a 46 of cold damage. It's not our best cold option. It creates an icy surface, which can be nice. I want to take Counterspell because that's just straight up good for survivability for your whole team. And then at next level, we can choose another spell, which I think Dimension Door can be useful, but Ice Storm's just good to have that there. It's a 46 of cold damage, so that can be doubled. And the ice surface is good to upset. If there's a lot of melee users on the other team, you can make them slip and fall on that and knock them prone. And then we're going to take another ability to score improvement. That's just the best way to go about doing this. You could go, if you took it to 19 with the last one, let's say you didn't use the Hag's you could take the Actor to increase your Charisma by 1 and get a proficiency bonus double for Deception and Performance. But I think that it's best to go with it this way. Warcaster can also be good to hold concentration on spells, although our concentrations are less important than having a high charisma, so we're going to go with that. Now at level 9, we get ourselves Cone of Cold, which this isn't a Storm Sorcerer spell per se, like lightning damage is our main focus, but cold is also doubled in water, and this hits in a large area, so I always have a Sword Bard that has Cone of Cold alongside this, because if you have a Sword Bards are fantastic for crowd control, but you can also set up Cone of Cold with them, and it's just great for damage. Hold Monster being the other big spell at level 5, but we're going to go with that there. And then at next level, we get ourselves another cantrip. We'll just take Firebolt. Although Bone Chill, actually I'm going to take Bone Chill. Reason being, Bone Chill stops the target from healing. You need to have someone with this, because it can make some late game encounters really trivialized. Hold Monster. Enough said. Paralyze a creature, can't move, act, or react. Attacks within 3 meters, always critical hits. What makes this so good is some late game bosses can just be completely trivialized with this spell. It's really great. Now, for our last metamagic, I think Subtle Spell is great to cast spells while we're silenced. It only uses 1 sorcery point, so it can be good if you're in a pickle and you need to cast a spell. But level 11, this is when we get some nice things. We get our Storm's Fury. When you're hit by a melee attack, you deal 11 lightning damage and potentially push them away. So if you're standing near a cliff, you can actually push people off the cliff with this. And it deals upwards to 22 lightning damage if Create Water is set up, so that's awesome. And then also we get Chain Lightning. Enough said. 160 damage at max if you have water set up. That's good. 10d8 of lightning damage, and it spreads to 3 other creatures within 18 meters. So it has an 18 meter range, and it'll reach out to 18 meters further, and that's just mind-boggling how good it is. You can start an encounter with create water and then chain lightning, and the encounter's over. It's just crazy. And then if they survive it, you know what you can do? Quicken spell chain lightning. Boom, done. I'll get into gear that makes this build super powerful in a moment, but for our last level, there's two ways we can go about this. We can take Globe of Invulnerability. Eye Bite's not a bad concentration as well. Arcane Gate's kind of meh compared to the other ones. I think that the best option, as I said earlier, you can add in that single level of the cleric. The reason that this is so good is if you go to the Tempest cleric, this adds martial weapons and heavy armor, so we can use pretty much anything, and we get a reaction to strike, bat, and attack, and creature dealing 2 to 16 lightning damage, and then that also kind of stacks with our other lightning damage, so it all comes together perfectly. And I think, yeah, these is probably the best to go with. Produce Flame can be good, though, because it gives you light. You can create flame and have a little fireball to create a little bit of light for your team. It's pretty much the same as light, but you can throw it as well. Deity, Talos, or whatever you want for purposes of role play. We also get Create Water from a Sorcerer, so we don't need it here. We should take Healing Word for the bonus action heal. If you have a teammate that goes down, you can use this to bring them back up, so it's actually really underrated. Sanctuary is another good option too, but we have a low wisdom, so we don't want anything like Command or Guiding Bolt that relies on that. Bless is good too if you don't have anyone with Bless, but that's what we're going to take for the Tempest Cleric, just to give ourselves some heavy armor. So this is pretty broken because the Storm Sorcerer itself is really powerful. The usual go about in combat would be to do Create Water. You can upcast this, and look how big that does. You don't want to upcast it that much, but use whatever you need to hit as many targets as you can possibly hit. So whenever you Create Water, it actually doesn't aggro people. We also get the ability to fly right after. That's nice. But with this, what we want to do is, we have a few options for damage. Lightning Bolt's great because it hits in that line there, and that can really do a number on people. Chain Lightning's our most powerful spell. We also have the Arcane Battery from this. I'll get into the gear in just a second, but this can allow us to do a free cast of Chain Lightning, and then we can cast it again with our quickened spell, so that's flawless. On top of that, we can also apply haste to ourselves. We can even go with Mirror Image to increase our armor class. We could also have went with a level of Barbarian to get, if we wanted to use a Wave Mother's Robes, which is what I'm using here. It gives us a free level 4 cast of Create Water, so we can do a huge Create Water with this without even taking, like as you can see, level 4 one is quite large, so you can cast that and switch armors if you want. Going with like the Armor Persistence will give us an armor class of 26, and then on top of that we also got Blade Ward and Resistance, so that we have half physical damage. So that's the benefit of adding the Tempest Cleric. The Birthright Hat is awesome. It'll give us that 22 charisma that we want. I also like the Amulet of Greater Health because it's going to give us more health, but you can also go with there's some other ones that we could go with, I guess, for an option. Even the Tressum Collar is nice to get a free telekinesis. Spell Crux Amulet for spell slot restoration. Amulet Devout plus 2 spell save DC, and it gives you another Channel Divinity, which we would want to take a second level of the Cleric, which their Channel Divinity makes lightning damage do its maximum, but we don't get Chain Lightning, because if we did, we would be able to hit 160 Chain Lightning no problem with our Channel Divinity, which is just crazy. I also like the Ring of Protection for +1 armor class, same as the Cloak of Protection and the Evasive Shoes. That's where we get our strong armor class from. The Crypt Lord Ring will give us Create Undead, which is nice to have a summon alongside us. A level 6 Necromancy spell for free is awesome, and it helps us with overall tankiness. The Marka Heshker Staff, this is the best staff for this build. Gains 1+2 spell save DC and spell attack rolls. We get that Arcane Battery, allowing us to cast Chain Lightning for free. We also get Kareska's Favor, which is friggin' amazing. So Bolts of Doom, if we do this will coat us in Lightning, and it gives us a free cast of Chain Lightning. So we can cast Chain Lightning 3 times with this. It's an incredible setup. We also get a free cast of Lightning Bolt too, which is awesome. And then you also get increased lightning damage. So Crackling Kareska's Lightning, Resistance Lightning damage, which we already have. Whenever you deal lightning damage, you get your proficiency bonus added to it, and you gain 1 lightning charge. So that's pretty awesome too. I'm also using the Viconia's Walking Fortress to give yourself the Rebuke of the Mighty, and then advantage on saving throws against spells, and spell attack rolls against you have disadvantage, so less likely to get hit by spells. Overall, Also, I guess the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies gives you thunder damage. Whenever you deal lightning damage, you get 2 turns of reverberation on the target, which can knock the creature prone. So that's actually a really nice option. You can also go with light armor there and take the Gloves of Dexterity, increase the armor class. But I think it's best to go with like a heavy armor of some sort, and then the Glove of the Belligerent Skies. So that is a very OP Storm Sorcerer build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any requests for builds in Baldur's Gate 3, please let me know, because I'm always happy to do new builds. I just did one of Legolas from Lord of the Rings yesterday. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.